Subtraction, they work opposite ways, so you got to be careful with subtraction. So here, a piece of metal 2 cm long is cut from 100 cm. So simply 100 minus 32. That is exactly what the question is about. But we're going to work it in bounds. Both measurements are correct to nearest cm. Find the upper bound and lower bound. So 100 minus 32 is the original question. What will be the lower bound? What will be the upper bound? For subtraction, you take the bigger number, upper bound of the bigger number, minus the lower bound of the smaller number to get the upper bound. To get the lower bound, you take the lower bound of the bigger number and you subtract the bigger bound of the smaller number. So let's see. Our rule is 1 divided by 2, so plus or minus 0.5 because nearest 1 centimeter. So we start. 100 lie between 99.5 and 100.5 cm. So 99.5 is the lower and 100.5 is the upper. Our 32 will be between 31.5 and 32.5, lower boundary, upper boundary. So to get the lower boundary, we're going to take the lower boundary of the bigger number and minus the upper boundary of the smaller number. So you get 67 cm. To get the upper boundary, you're going to take the upper boundary of the bigger number and subtract the lower boundary of the smaller number. So it's 69 centimeters. You need to just remember the rule, and you are just doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. That's all you are doing, but you need to know which numbers to choose. So study these rules carefully. Let's look at this exam style question. A car runs 240 kilometers in 2 hours. The distance is measured to the nearest kilometer, and the time is measured to 0.1 hours. Calculate the upper bound and lower bound of the average speed. So you must first know the formula for average speed. You know, speed is distance divided by time. Distance divided by time. Now let's check the rules. Nearest kilometer means nearest 1 unit. Nearest kilometer. So it's 1 divided by 2. So it's plus or minus 0.5 for the distance. So you know 240 kilometers will lie between 239.5 and 240.5 kilometers. So this is the lower bound of the distance, upper bound of the distance. Nearest 0.1 hours. So you divide it by 2, so plus or minus 0.15. So let's create the upper and lower bounds for the time. So 2 hours is 1.95 and 2.05. Lower bound of the 2 hours time, upper bound of the 2 hours time. And we know it's distance divided by time. If you want to know the lower bound, it's similar to the subtraction. You take the biggest number of the numerator and divide by the lowest number of the denominator. That's for the biggest answer. For the lower bound, you take the lower bound of the numerator and divide by the biggest number of the denominator. So here, you just pick the numbers the way you've done it. So the smallest of the numerator divided by the biggest of the denominator. That's what we'll have, kilometer per hour. Upper bound, you take the biggest of the numerator divided by the smallest of the numerator. So that's 123.33 kilometers per hour. So it is all a test of knowing which choice of numbers to use in your calculation.